Hello out there. We're on the air. Welcome to MoPac After Dark with the 2024 MoPac Mixed Playdowns coming to you live from San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. This is your host Ryan Olson bringing you the latest draw. Our featured game, Team Nooris of Curl San Diego taking on Team Howells of Hollywood Curling. So it is a SoCal clash as we see the opening rocks coming from the leads. This is draw three of our competition. We have 6 draws of pool play sets, including 3 draws tomorrow. And so hopefully you guys can stay tuned for all the action. If you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them in the chats, and I will do my best to respond to them in a respectful, diplomatic tone of voice. So, seeing the second of the lead stones coming from Norris's lead, and that would be Stephanie Trudeau. Stephanie started curling in March 2022, so she just has nearly 2 years under her belt. And it looks like that is a guard, unless it went into the house. Sorry. It's been a action-packed day, and we're just doing our best to make sure we stay on top of all the action. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the coverage. Where we're going to be here through the Sunday Championship at about 12:20 or so Sunday afternoon. So the second stone from Howells is lead, and that was Seema Shah. So first rock coming from Nooris is second, which would be Andrew Ring. He started curling in 2019. Curls out of both Curl San Diego and OC Curling. And that is a draw around the center guard. And so now with the 5 rock rule, the free guard zone rule is over. Skip Garnett Howells is calling for second Eric Hazard to do some cleanup duty. Eric La Scala Hazard got his recent nickname for his love of ridiculously expensive and large speakers. And I would joke and say like Winston Churchill, because he was a large man and was also a speaker. The fun humor that you guys get from curling events like this. So it does clear one of the rocks. Actually, just kind of kicked it to the side, so it does open things up. And so now Nooris, I believe, is looking to just kind of put up a guard, asking for that from Andrew, whose Bonspiel history includes the 2021 Fall Fiesta at Coyote as his lead. He's done a bunch of other events since, including the event winner at the Pride Spiel here at San Francisco back in 2023. Also finishing, or actually taking part in the Arena National Playdowns that were held at San Francisco as a second. And that was just back in late September, early October. So the guard wasn't quite made, and so this does open the opportunity for Eric Hazard to, I think, draw through the port. It's a pretty big port, and move some rocks around. So this looks pretty good. Gonna get one, get them both moving. I say got them both moving. The one of the reds did hang around, got pushed under the corner guard there. So Howells has the hammer by the due to throwing their stones closer to the center of the house than Norris's side. So we see now getting the hack. This is Vice Misty Daniels, who started curling in February 2019. She's been to about 4 Bonspiels according to her resume. And looking to draw around those guards. It's a pretty messy house to start. A lot of teams, depending on their level of experience, like to try to keep a pretty open house in the first end. But it definitely looks like these teams are both going at it. And if you look at the back of the playing area, you can see a ticking clock. Each team has 30 minutes of what's called thinking time to play their 8 ends of regulation. If they run out of time, they run out of game, they forfeit. As we see, this is Lisa Bears. She grew up in Canada, but she didn't learn how to curl until she found Hollywood curling in 2008. So it's going to hit and roll. I think they wanted to draw around, so that was a little light. So looking at the overhead button cam presented by the late Red Buttons. I don't know how many people in our audience know who Red Buttons is. I barely do. It looks to be Howell sitting one, but Norris has the second and third shot as we see the stone coming now from Misty. So some of her Bonspiels include the Turkey Spiel in 22, also the Donna Perky Classic just this past February as Vice. And then I was also at Arena National Playdowns as a Vice. So that just kind of added to the pile. So this is Lisa's second shot. She got the bug for curling after her first Bonspiel and has been fairly steeped in the curling community since. Looks like it did get around the guard this time. It's going to settle in the back four, right next to the Norris red. So now it's Howell sitting two, and looks like Norris wants to do some cleanup duty of his own in the house as we're at stiff stones already, just like that. Time flies. So we are using the camera equipment from San Francisco Bay Area Curling. Definitely appreciates their technical support and also lending us the broadcast station to air this game. And it's kind of fun. One of the upgrades that they made was better microphones to the setup. And you can definitely hear a lot more on the ice. The players have been warned that there are microphones that do pick up more sounds. This is Clyde Nooris. He's again been to a large number of events. Looks like 10, 15, or 20. It's going to raise the red over the top of the shot stones. Does open up the middle a little bit, but it definitely looks like Howells has the advantage at this point. I think Howells can nose out the red that he just gestured to and be still sitting two. But it definitely does set things up for Howells to score 2 or 3 points in the game. So Garnet Howells began his curling career in Edinburgh, Scotland in the late 80s, playing at Muirfield and Godar Park. Alas, no more. He played as a junior for a few years, ultimately as school skip for George Heriot's school. A much better curler also went there. I might need to ask him who that curler may have been. After not playing for 20 years, he showed up in Philadelphia and played there for a few years. After another many-year break, he picked up curling again in LA. But since the closure of the Southern California Curling Center, he is now roaming around the world trying to get low on the ice again in San Francisco, Lake Tahoe, Perth, Stirling, and Edinburgh. And that's another draw around the guard there. He went in a different direction than I was thinking. I think he wanted to go a little deeper than that. But I think Nooris has a bit of an out if he wanted to. It might be a little narrow. He, I think, could have drawn around the right guard, kind of like what Howells just did, and sit in the back four and be shot stone. But I think they're going to hit and roll, perhaps. So Clyde, some of his Bonspiel history. Words can be hard sometimes. Include being at a 25, a 5 and under at Coyotes in 2015. He played lead. He's slowly worked his way up to skip. So he hits and rolls. Oh, but it rolls too far. So it's now Howell sitting one. So not a bad outcome ultimately. Because it doesn't really move that red that's just outside the 4 foot. And there's a lot of rocks in the way. So Howells and Bears are looking to see how they can get that second point. So they're looking at maybe doing an in-off, maybe doing a angle raise. It's a long angle raise, as you can see from here, and that's what they're going to do. Um, the slight downside is that they could maybe hit it at a little thick and run it onto the red that's in the house. So I do see a potential downside, but it looks like a pretty decent shot. All right, let's see what Garnet Howells has with his last hammer in the first end. So it looks pretty close. Lines, it's a little thick, but it's a little light, so it's not going to make too much of a difference. And it's going to be a single point for Team Howells. So we go into the second with Team Howells up two, sorry, up to 1-0. We'll be right back when we continue with our coverage from the 2024 MoPac Mixed Playdowns, coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. And coverage of our 2024 MoPac Mixed Playdowns is being presented by DoubleTakeout.com. DoubleTakeout.com is what proprietor Ken Pomeroy calls the world's greatest curling ranking system. Visitors to the site can check out updated listings prepared, curated by Ken Pomeroy throughout the curling season. So you can see how your favorite curling team stacks up against the others and a lot of key curling stats, including hammer efficiency, steel efficiency, and more. That's all at doubletakeout.com. So let's take a quick trip around the rings. Let's see if we can see any scores posted. And actually, there's only one score posted. So I'll let you guys know about the games in action tonight. There's only 3 sheets in play. Sheet B is our feature sheet. Again, we have Team Nooris with the Red Rots taking on Team Howells. This first shot from Howells' lead. Seema Shaw was a bit heavy, went through the house out of play. Sheet C is a contest between Team McDonald, and McDonald hails from Coyotes, Seattle Granite, and Wine Country. I want to make sure I get all that correct. Looks like Team Altus is holding the Yellow Rocks. Team Altus hails from Silicon Valley. No score posted yet. They are in the second end. And then sheet 4 is our last game of the night. We have Team Ewers from Silicon Valley. No, Orange County. Orange County curling. With the Red Rocks taking on Team Barajas of San Francisco Bay Area. So all those games in action, we'll keep you updated as they progress. You can also keep track of all the scores at bonspieler.com. That's Bon, say Bon, bonspieler.com. So this is Seema's second shot, and Liza's called to maybe help push it, and now Garnett's coming out to help. Looks to be a little light. It's going to be more of a center-ish guard as it comes to rest. Seema, by the way, has been curling for under 2 years. Splits her time between San Francisco and Tahoe. As a coincidence, perhaps that's where Eric Hazard curls out of. It's always kind of fun trying to find teams for events like this where it is not limited to clubs. You can recruit players from outside your home club, and that appears to be what happened in this case as Stephanie Trudeau drops the button. And it looks like Howells is asking for a draw on top of that. As we see Eric delivered from the hack. He started curling in 1970 at Lake Shore Curling Club in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. That was so long ago, there are now 3 rivers there in Two Rivers. It's a joke. I imagine the town is still called Two Rivers. He has 4 mixed nationals, 1 senior nationals, 3 Pacific International Cup championships, and 2 international tinkards, and lots of fun in between. And so that turned out to be a guard. And now it looks like Nooris wants to draw a round. He's going to be asking his second Andrew to do the honors. Looks like it took a dive there. Some of these rocks, when they break really hard. But he was able to get around that guard, and now it is Nooris sitting 3, and it looks like Garnett's going to ask for some cleanup on aisle 2, as it were. As we see Eric's second shot here. So like Garnett, he didn't curl much in the 90s, but has won Bonspiels in 5 of the last 6 decades. And that's quite a feat. This is going to get 1 yellow out of the way. And so we saw this in the last game. You try to put up guards to create offense, but sometimes you get to a point where the guards aren't doing you any good, and you need to open up to create some access to the house. And so that seems to be what Hazard just did for Team Howells. I do believe they're going to, I think they want to draw to the top of the 4 foot, actually. I would think they could put the guard back up, and that's possible, or maybe bite the top of the house. This is going to be more of a guard. That looks like a pretty good shot. So it looks like Garnett's looking for a hit and roll, but if it does hit any of the rocks in the top of the house or in front of the house, as he said, that's okay. As we see Liza's first shot made its way down the ice. So when not curling, Liza teaches Pilates and is a teacher trainer for Wunderbar Pilates. So it does get rid of one of the reds, and the shooter rolls to the outer 8-foot. So I would definitely say that was a positive outcome by Barris. And so now Nooris is looking at doing a hit and stick on that side. So a little wobble there. Again, just looking to make contact to hit and stick. This is over curling though, so maybe looking for a plan B. Depending on the weight, they could maybe get it to the back of the house. Or that could have been the plan all along. So it does settle in on the tee line. It does create a little lovely nest for Howells to set up shop in. So he said you can afford to be a little bit heavy. So that's important for people delivering the stone, because you want to try to have the right weights, but sometimes you want to know how to miss. And so he was saying it's okay to miss heavy in this case. It's over curling. So this definitely does seem to open up an opportunity for Team Nooris. It does kick off of the yellow guard, and it does kind of broaden the field of guards, which is one of the worst fields you can think of, a field of guards, perhaps. There's worse things. And here is Misty's second shot here in the second end. This looks to be a little up weight, but the ice has been kind of tricking me so far today. Let's take a look at the button cam. This is going to go a little deep. It's going to tap the red, push it back, and Nooris is sitting 3. Howells has the 4th shot on the wing, and it looks like Howells is going to hit and roll towards the button. So I would definitely perhaps mark that as a miss, just in terms of the team call. Not saying that Misty missed per se, but just in terms of, I think keeping it high would have been a good outcome, because now it creates an opportunity for Garnett to, hit and roll, or just kind of move some of the rocks around and remove Nooris counters. So Eric was called on to try and hold the line. And now they're trying to push it over. It needs to curl about another 3 inches. It's going to nose it. So not too bad. And so now the situation is that Nooris can hit and roll on his own, or hit and stick even wouldn't be too bad, because it makes it harder for Howells to get access to the center of the house on that side. I think from how they're looking, the bottom side of this view, or if we shift to the other view, the right side, it would be really hard to draw on that right side, just because there's so many guards that are kind of extending to the right side. Uh, Not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying it's harder. So Norris gets set in the hack. Some of his more recent experience includes taking part in the Arena National Playdowns that were held at San Francisco this past September. He was a skip. Also at the Summer Blockbuster Bronzeville hosted by Coyotes for Hollywood back in July. And also the spring training Bronzeville at Coyotes back in March. Lots of curling. This is going to hit and it's going to roll. And how far does it roll? It rolls right on top of the shot stone under cover. So now Howells, that was a good shot by Norris. Definitely give him points for that. If we were doing the curling point system, when you watch curling on TV, they have percentages based on how well the players are shooting. And that's based on a score that officials are giving after every shot. They're judging it based on if the shot was totally blown, that's 0 points, or if the shot was like a great shot, it's 4 points. So I would give a 3 to 4 for that. I think definitely exactly what Team Norris needed at that point, and makes it really hard for Howells to respond there. And but respond he will. I think he's just going to draw and settle in on the back button just to make it harder for Norris to score more than 1 or 2 here. So this is Garnett's last here without a hammer in the seconds. So calling for weight only. This is going to be close. Sweepers are on. They're kind of judging the weights. Pretty good. Probably wanted to curl a little bit more. It's open. So the weight was good. Just didn't curl up enough. Because if you look at it from the head-on view, it's a tempting, tasty target for Team Norris to take on. If he gets rid of it, that's going to be likely 4 points for the San Diego squad. It's just a matter of making sure you have the right weight. You don't need to throw a missile at this. You just need to throw a nice control weight, hack, well, board weight. I think they're doing board weight. Although definitely need to make sure that the rock doesn't get away from them in terms of curl. But this is a huge opportunity for Team Norris. They've got 2 right now, trying to turn 2 into 4. And so this is Clyde Norris here with the hammer, second end, a chance for 4. Waits up, they say the line's good. They're not sweeping at all. It's going to make contact. Is it going to jam? And it does jam, but it pushes one of the reds out of the way. The yellow sticks around, but it's still enough for Norris to score 3 off of that shot. So an exciting start. Both teams were able to score. And when we come back, Team Howells will have the hammer as we continue our coverage from the 2024 MoPac Mixed Playdowns presented by DoubleTakeout.com. Welcome back to the MoPac 2024 Mixed Playdowns from San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club, just steps away from the Oakland International Airport. I say steps, it's probably like a mile. So you'll get your steps in. So looking around the rings, again, we have three games in action tonight. Sheet two is our feature sheet, where Team Norris took two. I got the score wrong, I believe. I think Howell scored two in the first end. My apologies for that. I'll get that fixed right now. And then looking at the other games in play, Team Norris scored a three spot in the second to take a 3-2 lead over Team Howells on sheet two. Sheet three, teams are going back and forth. The contest between Team McDonald of Coyotes, Wine Country, and Seattle Granites. Uh, and then the Team Altus from Silicon Valley. And then on sheet four, the contest between Team Ewers of Orange County taking on Team Barajas of San Francisco. They just hung a second point for Team Ewers to take a 2-0 lead over Barajas. So again, all these scores are being posted to bondspieler.com. So you can always ask what the score is, but you can also ask yourself on bondspieler.com. Shifting now back to our feature sheets, where it looks like Stephanie Trudeau just threw her last stone. By the way, her Bonspiel history includes the 2022 Oktoberfest Mini Cash Spiel at OC Curling. There's also at the Donna Perky at Coyotes in 2023, as well as the Hollywood Curling on location at Coyotes in last July. So getting a lot of Bonspiel experience in, which is great. Net struck coming now from Seema Shah. This is her second stone. So some of her experience includes finishing runner-up at MoPac Club Playdowns last year in San Francisco. Also represented MoPac at Club Nationals. One of the nice things about our region is that we often have a lot of entries, and sometimes that merits us a second entry into a championship, a national championship. And she also has three first place finishes and two second place finishes at Bonspiels in Tahoe, San Francisco, including mixed doubles and skins spiels. Wanted to try skins. Sounds like fun. That's right, coming from Andrew. I think looking to draw around those center stones. And as always, guys, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the YouTube chats. I definitely see them. I definitely react to them as appropriate. And that draw around comes up a little short. So looks like Howells is in a pretty good position here in the start of the third end. So Eric helps run the Lake Tahoe Epic Curling Club in State Line, Nevada, I believe. It's a fun little two-sheet club. We called it Bespoke earlier today, a Bespoke Curling Club. So the venue is a little small, but the spirits are pretty big there in South Lake Tahoe area. If you have a chance to go, I would recommend it. And that draw ends up at the back of the house. So we shift to the button cam. Howells is sitting two. And with the guard zone rule off, looks like Nooris is asking Andrew to do some cleanup. Needed to curl over a little bit. It looks pretty good though, actually. Oh, it over curled. So it does clear one of the guards, just not the guard that I think Norris was looking for. So it looks like Howells wants Eric to hit and kind of push the yellow guard under the guard, the red guard on the right there. or the top. So there, he's worried about it over curling as Seema jumps on it. Now they're both going. Just the weight looks a little light. So it's going to be another guard, unless it's over curling, which it does. But you do have some staggered guards, and I definitely think that Nooris is going to have to try to take that on as he gestures for the takeout. Or is he looking to raise the red? Okay, so he's looking to take on the raise to push the red towards the button, asking Daniels to take it on. Need about back 8 weights. It looks pretty close. Needs to curl up a bit. It does get the red. It pushes it towards the house, and it's good for shot, just not necessarily the way I think Norris was looking for. And so now Garnett can just tap that out, and he's asking Misty Daniels to do the honors. So we're playing 8 ends. The games are timed, as I mentioned earlier. Teams have 30 minutes of thinking time. This is going to be pretty close. Over curled, but it does make contact with the red. The shooter is going to roll to the back of the house, and it's going to go through the house, but stick around in the back of the sheets. And so now it is Howell sitting 1 and 2, while Norris has the third shot. And those Howell rocks are under a lot of cover. And so they're looking to draw around. I wonder if they would maybe think to open it up if they can, but maybe dislodging those 2 staggered guards is maybe tricky and might not work. This looks a little tight out of hand as Norris calls sweeping for line. That's going to curl into the pile. So he calls them off. There could be a plan B if it curls past the yellows, but it's not going to. It just curls into the pile. Definitely junks up the middle, and that's not a great outcome, unfortunately, from that shot. So now Howells is going to take on the draw, asking Liza to take it on. Looking for top 4. Top 8 would be fine too. Calling Eric, I think, to hold the line. Now they're off. So really fighting to hold that line. It looks pretty good. It's around the card, around that top yellow, and settles in back button. That was a great shot there from Barris. So fun fact about Barris, she also is an off-road rally navigator and was sponsored by Jaguar Land Rover in the 2023 Rebelle Rally, which is the largest off-road rally in the U.S. that just happens to be an all-women's event. Rally racing is interesting. I haven't done it, but it definitely seems to involve a lot of driving excellence, but also navigational excellence. And it's also, I think, a pretty strong endurance race as well to get through 2 or 3 days of racing. Kind of like a curling bonspiel. Because I know after 2 or 3 days of curling 2 or 3 games a day, your body definitely feels it. unless you take a lot of care to exercise. So this is Norris now doing the draw, and that was a pretty close second act there. Just a little wide. It settles in on the right edge of the button, and his second shot. And so now I think Howells with the hammer is going to, I think, just draw on top of that. I think he has two shots to go as he makes his way to the hat. Yes, this is the first of two stip stones from Garnett. So some of his Bonspiels include the 2022 Cal State Games, earning silver. Also at the 2022 MoPac 25 and under as a runner-up, and that is total team experience, a total of 25 years of curling experience. Also, the 2022 Colorado Cup mixed doubles, winning bronze in the recreational bracket. So this is going to wreck on the yellow guard, which is not a bad outcome necessarily. It does spill into the house, so it rolls a little too far wide, I think, to be super useful for Howells. And so Norris, I think they could just draw on top of the yellow. And if they happen to tap the yellow, that would be just Jim, Dandy, and Peachy, which I've never met Jim Dandy before. I'm sure that someone is named Jim Dandy. I don't know if there's a Jim Peachy out there, though. I, there probably is. There's 8 billion people in the world. Surely one of them must be named Jim Peachy. Jim Dandy Peachy. As Clyde Norris gets set in the hat. Looks like it floated a little wide. Maybe to make sure it stayed on line. He looked a little tight out of hack. This could be coming up a little light. And it's digging in. So it's going to be around the guard. Actually, it crashes on the guard. It rolls toward the center of the port there. So not a bad outcome for Norris. Although now looking from this view, the bottom side of the sheet, or switching views here, the left side of the sheet, maybe they could draw on the left side to get to the side of the button. Depends on how much the rocks are curling at that point. Looks like you would need about a foot and a half of curl on that bottom side, or the left side from the other view. This is dangerous. I think they're trying to go for the brass ring perhaps here, because it's a very lonely Norris red just on the edge of the button there. If they were able to get rid of that red, they could score 3, maybe 4, but the level of difficulty is it's got to be really high here. So looking for a slight angle run back. They want to hit it. They want to hit that red just to the right of center. And let's see if Garrett Howells has this shot in his pocket. It's over curling. Ooh, no. Oh, wow. So the Norris vice skip was looking at the yellow or the red that was going out of play, but they should have been looking at that red that rolled to the button. Wow. So it could be a measure. They're kicking the rocks. I think it was one red, but this is definitely one of those situations where I will wait to see if they post the score or when they post the score. They're going to post the score. Rare is a curling event where they don't post the scores. And when we find out, you'll find out, and you can also stay on top with our live scoring at bonspieler.com. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back when we return to the 2024 MoPac Mitts Playdowns presented by DoubleTakeout.com. And we're back to the 2024 MoPac Mitts Playdowns, brought to you live from San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club in Oakland, California. Taking a quick trip around the range, you can see on the scoreboard on sheet 2 that it was a steal of 1 by Team Nooris. Sheet 3, looks like they're starting their 4th end, but have not posted the 3rd end score. That is a contest on sheet C between Team McDonald of Coyotes, Seattle Granite, and Wine Country, taking on Team Altus from Silicon Valley. It looks like McDonald was able to score as they post a 3 in the 3rd end to take a 4-1 lead, McDonald over Altus. And then a sheet for the game between Team Ewers of Orange County Curling and Team Barajas of San Francisco. It was Ewers taking a single in the 2nd. Looks like they're about to start the 3rd. We'll see what score they post. And again, all these scores are at bonspieler.com. So looking at the next rock coming from SEMA. So SEMA spends her time between San Francisco and Tahoe and is a member of both San Francisco Bay Area and Lake Tahoe Epic Curling. You always have to emphasize the word epic. It's epic curling. And that is a center-ish guard, not on the center line. We are following the relatively new no-tick rule for the first 5 rocks of an end. A team may not remove an opposing team's rock if it is on the center line. If it does dislodge the center line guard, the original stone is replaced and the offending stone is removed. It's out of there. So Stephanie Trudeau is looking to draw around the center guard that was just put up. Looks pretty good, maybe a little heavy. It's going to settle in the back of the house. Back 8, back 12, back 8. Looks like it's around the guard. So it looks like a pretty good shot there by Trudeau. And so this is SEMA's next stone. And SEMA knows that curling has taken her to new cities and countries, including Wausau, Wisconsin, and Karlstad, Sweden. She hopes to one day visit and curl in Scotland, the home country, the mother country of curling. And that's going to tap the red to the back of the house. Looks like it's going to go all the way through. Out of play. So it looks like now Nooris wants Andrew Ring to draw. I think to the top 8 is what I would think. Nooris calls him off. This looks a little light, and it's going to probably curl into the pile. Maybe. It's too light. It's too light. Again, I hope you guys are having an enjoyable evening. I know I am. Broadcasting our 3rd draw of the day. And again, we have another set of 4 draws tomorrow, starting at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, where the feature game will be Team Feldman of Wine Country taking on Team LeClaire of Coyotes. And then we have additional action at 1 o'clock, roughly, 5 o'clock. And we have our first quarterfinal game, or quarterfinal games, at about 8:30, 8:20, roughly. All that action starts again at about 9:30, coming to you from the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club and the MoPac YouTube channel. So that draw from Eric looks pretty good. Looks like it's open though, although it's dangerous. He's calling for hack. It's going to be important to hit it. Yeah. It says wait. The danger, let's see if we can show you the overhead camera. If he hits it too narrow, if he hits it like on the nose or just to the right of nose, there's a large possibility of it jamming. So it might be good just to clip it on the side and then maybe roll to the wing. Let's see what Ring has in store. Looks a little tight, so sweepers are on it early. And he's called it off. It's gonna, I think, it's gonna be close. It does flip it. The shooter does roll through the house out of play. So mission accomplished in terms of getting rid of the shot stone there. And so now it looks like Howells might want to try and tap the yellow up. Sometimes I don't know the answer, so my statement turns into a question. Looks like a draw, not necessarily a raise. Although Garnett is coming out to help. And this is going to be very much a guard rock, possibly. So I think just a little light. I think they wanted to be in the house with that shot. So now Nooris will take on the draw, try to get to the 4 foot. So it's going to be a different shot than was just last thrown. So he's asking for more eyes as Misty Daniels makes her way from the hack. So it says lines tight. So it wants to make sure it gets around that. Oh, it clips the guard and it spins to the wings on the bottom side here, or the right side when we change views. And it doesn't hang around. It looks like it's barely on the ice or barely on the ring. We've had a lot of edge shots here. That's good for third shot because Garnett Howells' rink has a stone that's also hanging on the edge of the 12-foot ring, but just a little bit more on the ring than that last rock from Nooris. So Liza's next stone comes down the way. Some of her curling accomplishments include attending or participating in the 2014 Mixed Nationals at Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, and then also the 2014 International Tankard in Mill Bay, British Columbia. And so that turns out to be a guard. No, sorry, that's in the house. I apologize. So Nooris is asking for Daniels to throw a hack weights here. Calling hard for line, really trying to hold it. Now called him off. Now called him back. Oh, this could be not great for Team Nooris. So the rock actually hits the yellow and pushes it to the back 8 foot. And so now Howells is sitting 2 in the house while Nooris has the third shot. So it sounded like Howells is asking Barris to throw a guard. SEMA was called into action to hold the line. Again, they were off briefly, and now SEMA's back onto it. This looks definitely guardy. And indeed, that is what it is. So now Nooris is facing a fairly tricky situation as Howells is sitting first and second shot. Pretty well buried, although they're looking to do a draw. And I think they could get to the edge of the 4 foot, but that's a pretty tricky guard there on the left side of the sheet. Although when you look at it from the overhead, looks like the guard is only about 3 feet out. So I think with the curl, I think they could get to the edge of the button. So this is Clyde Norris's first. Looks a little up weight, but they are going to a fresh patch of ice. And I think it might be crashing on the guard. And it did crash on that guard. It did push it closer to the center, and then the shooter itself rolled to the side out of play. And so now Howells, I think, is going to try and close the door. He's looking on the bottom side or the right side, although it quickly changed his mind. I think they're going to close the door, take two in this end, perhaps, or find a way for three. But definitely make it hard for Nooris to draw to that side of the 4 foot. So again, looking for a guard. If it slips into the top of the house, that's not bad. This is carrying a little bit. So now you need to maybe look for a plan B there. It's going to actually come to the back of the house, and it's actually going to go to the back 12. So it won't be much of a factor unless Norris, unless Howells is able to get rid of that Norris red that's in the back 8. This is a very lonely Norris red there. So they could try that draw again. They've had two people go down that path. So again, that high red guard is not as much of a factor as the last time. Again, this is going to be a very key shot for Clyde Norris as Howells is sitting 2 right now. This looks a little, well, it looked a little wide, but it's hard to say. And then the weight looked a little heavy to me, but they're definitely sweeping for line. 1 second. There we go. That turns into a guard. So Howells is sitting 2 right now, and he has a draw for 3. So it's kind of feast and light appetizers for the teams here. Either you get a big end or you get a single. And this looks to be a big end shaping up for Team Howells as Garnett makes his way down the ice. This is a chance for Howells to punch into a 1 point lead into the halftime break. Here we go. So it looks like it's sailing a little bit, but Liza says that the sweepers might not be able to touch it. And this is a bit heavy. And oh, it's settling down really nicely though, and will spin just to the edge of the 8 foot. And so that is going to be a score 3 for Team Howells. So it is now Howells' turn to feast, to take a 5-4 lead into the fourth end break. When we come back, we're going to do some around the rings coverage, but we're going to take the 5 minute break with them. Nooris will have the hammer when we come back to the 2024 MoPac Men's and Women's Club Playdowns. And once again, tonight's event is being presented by DoubleTakeout.com. DoubleTakeout.com is the site for curling stat geeks. Throughout the curling season, proprietor Ken Pomeroy crunches the numbers and comes up with a ranking of the top men's and women's, and I believe mixed doubles teams from around the world. Uh, you can check out to see how your team stacks up. That's all at doubletakeout.com. And we'll be back in just a few moments. And we're back to the 2024 MoPac Midst Playdowns, coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club uh, in Oakland. I'm trying to come up with an adjective for Oakland that best describes the environment, but it's Oakland. So, taking a quick trip around the rings, 3 games in action right now. Sheet 2 is our feature sheet where Team Howells with the yellow rocks from Hollywood took a 3-point shot or scored 3 points in the last end to take a 1 point lead, 5-4 over Team Nooris from Curl San Diego. Sheets 3 looks like they are at the break. Haven't seen them post the score yet, but it appears that Team McDonald with the Blue Stones scored a single in that fourth end to take a 5-1 lead over Team Altus. McDonald hails from Coyotes, Seattle Granite in wine country, and Team Altus is from Silicon Valley. Almost a home game for Altus. And then Sheet 4, they're going back and forth scoring singles. And actually, both teams stole. And actually, so it looks like, yeah, both teams stole. It looks like Team Ewers from OC Curling stole the first 2 ends, and then Team Barajas from San Francisco scored with a hammer in the third and also stole the fourth. And they're all tied at 2. So all those scores are being posted to bondspieler.com. You don't have to hear it from me. You can check it out yourself, bondspieler.com. As we see the first rock coming from Stephanie Trudeau. Howells' first stone from a SEMA went to a tight guard. Oh, this rock is light. It hogged, unfortunately. Has to fully cross that blue line to remain in play, and it just was a little short there. So second rock coming from SEMA. When she is not curling, you can find her skiing, rock climbing, surfing, supping, or supping, hiking and playing pickleball, spec tennis, and soccer. And then when she is not outdoors, you can find her teaching and choreographing dances. And this is a corner-ish guard as Garnett came out to help. And it looks like Nooris wants Trudeau to draw around. And it's going to end up curling into the pile there. So holding control of the front of the house, Howells looks to be asking Eric Hazard to tap the center guard into the house. Both teams are doing great on time, by the way. They both have over 17 minutes to play 4 ends, should the game go the distance. And was able to tap that yellow back, and the center guard is there again. The shooter stays as the center guard. And so the free guard zone is over, and now Andrew is being asked to do some cleanup. Sweepers are called off. Needs to come back is, I think, the message. Now Trudeau's trying to coax it over. I think going to clip. Oh, it misses the guard. Goes out of play, unfortunately. So if you love curling and you need to get a flu or COVID vaccination, this is your weekend to check off both or three items on the list. Throughout this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday, San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club is hosting a vaccination clinic. As I pulled up information on my phone, the vaccination clinic is going to run from 11 a.m. to 5, sorry, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on both Saturday and Sunday at the Curling Club in Oakland. There's no charge for either flu or COVID vaccines. However, if you have Medicare or private insurance, bring your insurance card for authorization on eligibility and coverage. And that is an event being brought to you by the San Francisco Club, USA Curling, and a group called Coaching You Up to help KO flu and COVID. So Andrew is asking about the what Norris would like with his shot, and I think the goal is to try and split those two guards off, just based on what Ring asked, and gets both of them moving. Rolls one of the yellows into the house and clips out the shot stone. So that's a pretty great shot. Andrew had a bit of a spill, kind of dropped to his knees on the ice, but that does not mitigate that it was a good shot there from Andrew Ring. So now it looks like Howells is asking Liza Barris to put up a guard. Howells does not have the hammer this end, so he's looking to, I think, secure and control the middle of the house to make it super hard for Nooris to score even a single point. And let me show you what I'm seeing. We're definitely one man banding this broadcast where I'm overseeing the switching of the views and broadcasting the game and a whole bunch of other stuff. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a lot of fun just to be here sharing a game that I love, and I hope you guys love it. And if you don't love it, I hope you come to love it soon. As Misty Daniels delivers using the stabilizer instead of a broom for balance. And looking to hit the yellow in the house, but this looks to be pretty good actually. It's going to be around the guard and hopefully a little roll undercover. And they do get that little roll. I think they would have liked it like 2 or 3 more inches. As you look from the head-on view, it does appear to be about 40% exposed, and so Barris with her net throw about backline weight, backline to hack weight can get that red out of the way. As her shot's away, and this it's pretty tight. I think it could be on the guard, and it is not too bad. It does open up the ports to the shot stone, and so now Norris, you don't want to guard in this situation because it's just one. You want to be able to have a chance to score multiple points, but you also want to set it up so that there's not a double possibility. So I think the shot is to draw around that center guard as we see the shot coming down the ice. Weight looks pretty good, but it might be curling into the guard. It's really close. It's around the guard. It's a heavy, although this could be not a bad outcome. It is shot now after crashing on the shot stone. Taps it back. Um, Not an easy double there. However, Howells could then try to take on the same shot that Misty tried, and that seems to be the case. So this definitely looks to be a very weight dependent shot, weight sensitive. This is Garnet Howells' first without the hammer here in the fifth end. We made it an entire end without my updating the end number. What's wrong with me? So looking to get around. I'm just going to tap the red. Oh, so this is a tricky situation. I think Nooris, I mean, wants to get the yellow gone, but what's the best way to address it? I think you try to hit it thin and try to roll under the shot stone. But I think they're going to try and draw. I think if they hit it thin and like hits the yellow back, then Norris could be sitting 3, and it would be hard for Howells to get rid of like 1 or 2 of the reds. The yellow, sorry, the red shot stone is about 20% open. So that might be what Norris is worried about. It's a close game so far, pretty back and forth. I kind of say play the scoreboard throughout a game. That's part of the strategy of the game. You want to have a strategy for the end or round, and you want to have an overall strategy for the game, and kind of knowing through each end what you need to get to the ultimate game goal. So this is probably not a bad shot. And this is going to end up around, it doesn't get around that center guard. It's going to be good enough for fourth shot. So Norris is sitting just the 1. It does leave open a possibility to pluck out that yellow from the other side now, and to get 2 or 3. So I think that's what Howells is trying to prevent with his last as he gets set in the hack. Wants to put up a guard uh, in front of that yellow. Could be a very key shot now coming from Howells. I thought it looked a little wide, but maybe the camera's tricking me, or maybe I'm not seeing it as clearly as I should, because it's coming back pretty nicely and it's actually over curling. Oh, goodness. The door could be open. Howells, with a tap of the broom on the ice as he makes his way back down the sheets, recognizes that he left open the door for Norris to score a pretty big end here. Let's again look at the overhead camera, the button cam, and again, if he hits that yellow on the outside and pushes it between the 2 reds, and then scoring definitely 2, maybe 3 or 4, brings all the reds into play. And so this is a crucial shot here. This could really break the game open for Norris. And it's just a matter of having the right weight and the right line. So again, Norris has 1 in hand, looking to score 2, 3, or 4. This is the last shot from Clyde Norris here in the 5th. Needs to hit the outside of that yellow. Needs to come over just a little. It looks. Oh, it wicks. Okay, that worked out. I don't know if that's not how they drew it up, but it's good for two. And the lead, as Norris scores two, is now 6-5. Norris over Howells. We'll be back in just a moment to the 2024 MoPac Mixed Playdowns, coming to you from San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. And we're back to the MoPac Mixed Playdowns, brought to you by, presented by DoubleTakeout.com. Taking a quick look around the reins, sheet 2 is our feature sheet, where Team Norris took a 2 spots to take a 6-5 lead over Team Howells. Norris hails from Curl San Diego, while Howells is from Hollywood. Sheet 3 is our contest between Team McDonald with the Blue Rocks taking on Team Altus with the Yellowstones. It's pretty much been McDonald for this game, currently up 5-1. And then sheet 4, the singles, you can call that a jukebox game because all they do is play singles. The most recent team to score a single was Team Barajas from San Francisco, stealing the fifth end, a single point to take a 3-2 lead over Team Nooris from Orange County, OC Curling. Lots of interesting games in play, and again, you can find out all the scores at vonspieler.com. And here we are in the sixth end as SEMA's first stone makes its way down the ice. And this is Stephanie Trudeau's second stone of the end. Trying to get around that center guard that was just put up. It's going to be pretty tight, and it just taps it. So not a bad outcome. There is one center guard that belongs to Team Norris, and then there's a center-ish guard. And so it looks like Howells is opting to draw on the opposite side of the sheet. Eric Hazard being called to sweep to hold the line. Once it's past the guard, I think they're going to try to push to bury it as deep as they can as Garnett jumps in to help the Rock finish. Finishes in a really great position, fully buried by that high center yellow guard. And so Norris listed want to follow Howells down, and that's the strategy. I'm curious about why not just clear the guards to keep open sheets, but teams have different strategies, and they could be seeing things that I'm not seeing. That's one of the fun parts about this game. There's more than one way to get into the house, and this looks pretty good actually. As it's going to tap the yellow back to the back 8 foot. Um, Still kind of covered by the guards though. And then the red is open, and so now Howells is going to hit and roll. As Eric Hazard from Lake Tahoe Epic Curling gets sets. Looking for hit and roll. This is hanging out wide. It's going to nose hit the Nooris red. The Nooris red rock goes out of play, and now Howells is sitting 2 in the various parts of the 8-foot ring. And so Nooris looks to try the hit and roll as Andrew Ring gets set. So this looks, again, a little wide. It does hit the yellow out of play and rolls to the wings, the shooter. So we talked about playing singles from a jukebox, and it looks like we're trading the hits back and forth. So we could be doing some Casey Kasem or Ryan Seacrest top 40, depending on your generation. This again looks to be a little on the wide side. It's going to make contact, but is it going to jam? It does not jam. The shooter rolls to the wings out of play. So after playing the hits, looks like we might have to play a new tune here on the bottom or the right side of the sheet, depending on your view. As Misty Daniels gets set, the almost 5-year curling veteran from Curl San Diego. Looking to draw around the red guard. If it rests on the red guard, that's not the worst outcome. So it's over curling. So they're definitely looking for the plan B now. It just over curled. It's going to tap the red back, and not too bad. So now Howells is going to try and draw on the other side of the sheet. At the very least, sitting 2, but also maybe be in a position to make it really tricky for uh, Nooris to get out of this jam that's kind of building up. So this looks, again, pretty close. It's a little heavy, so Nooris is perhaps going to be able to sweep it a little bit, gets into the back 4-foot. So a pretty good shot overall, but it definitely also shows Nooris the path to that part of the ice. He can come down and sit right on top of that yellow that was just thrown. So can get my stopwatch out. Let's time this shot if I can. So they said lines tight. There's a real risk of jamming on that yellow, and it's going to hit the yellow. So I got about 12/8, which is a bit heavy for this ice. I would say I'd probably go to the back 12. I say heavy for this ice for this event. A lot of times on really good curling club ice, you can see hog times of about 14 and a half seconds. So that was a bit heavy for this ice. As Liza Barris gets set, I think looking to draw through the ports that is now there on the left side of this ice. Garnett rushes up to help. through the ports and going to settle in as a guard on that top side, left side of the sheet. So the best shot for Norris, I think, appears to be on the right side to kind of tap that red up toward the button. So tap that bottom red up towards the center of the house. Did they call a timeout? No, they did not. Trying to see if there's other approaches they could take. They could try to draw. Um, they're looking at the top of the house. I wonder if they're worried about if they tap the red back, then Howells can just kind of blow up that side of the house. This looks to be a very long raise, perhaps. This is tricky. I would perhaps just try to raise the center red if you're going down that path, and that might be what he's set up to do. I guess that's part of the fun of the game is seeing what each team decides to do with their shots. This is Norris's first without the hammer here in the sixth end. And I do believe it looks like he's going to raise that center red as it goes down the ice. Oh, and it jams a little bit. Hit it on the side. Need to hit it right on the nose. It was a little light for what they were trying to do, and then also the line was a little wide, so they need a little bit more weight and a little less line, and the shot would have been there. They are calling timeouts on this shot. So as they talk about the shot, let's see if we can tune into the house mic. So the decision's made. Decisions made. Looking to just block the path up. I I think the run back for red on that right side is what Norris might be left with. Right now, Howells is sitting two. This is a really strong chance for Howells to retake the lead by at least 1 or 2 points. So looking for a guard. Don't want it to over curl. This looks pretty tight out of hand. And it's just going to settle into the pile. He wanted to take away the easy shot from Norris. And in that regard, mission accomplished. So now Norris does look to be taking on that angle run back. As you can see how he gestured with the broom. We do have a Christmas tree in front of the house. As I said earlier, the holidays are not over, especially with Epiphany tomorrow, the last of the 12 days of Christmas, um, to commemorate the arrival of the three wise men, as it were. So each team only has two wise men here at this mixed event, two wise men and two wise women. And I think that's the way it should be here at a curling club like this. As Norris has the broom down, looking for that angle raise, um, looking for soft weights just based on where the broom is. Also, perhaps a concern that the rock might over curl on that side. Definitely a huge shout out to everyone involved with this event, the volunteers from the teams and from the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. Also, the on ice official who is here this weekend. A huge thanks to them, as well as the members of the MoPac Competitive Competition Committee, headed by Ken Pomeroy. So, huge thank yous to everyone there. Let's see if this this shot is coming up a little light. Ooh, okay. So they were trying to draw through the port, at least based on the weights. So now Howells, all he needs to do is basically touch the 8 foot for a third point and jump up to an 8-6 lead with 2 ends remaining in the game. So they're going to go down a very similar path to what Garnett just threw. A little more ice and going to need a little more weight, especially because his last shot was a guard. And this is the last rock, sixth end. Garnet Howells with a chance for three. Has two in hand. It's unlikely that they will lose those two that are in the hand. And again, they just need a piece of the 8 foot. It is really close, staying all the way, and it's there for that third point. That was a great end there by Team Howells and Garnett as they take an 8-6 lead into the seventh. We'll be back in just a moment when we return to the 2024 MoPac Mixed Playdowns presented by DoubleTakeout.com. Welcome back to the 2024 MoPac Mixed Playdowns, brought to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. Again, a huge shout out to our hosts for providing us with a great curling facility and a great broadcast setup. I'm always happy to stop by. This is the one curling club where I've been to, I think, 3 or 4 times that I've not actually been on the ice. Every other curling club I've been to my knowledge, I've been able to play at least a game. And so this is it's kind of a weird personal factoid, but definitely seeing a lot of great play here. As we see rocks in play on our feature sheets. Two, as Team Howells with the yellow rocks from Hollywood is taking a 8-6 lead over Team Nooris from San Diego. This truly is shaping up to be a SoCal clash. on sheet three, I believe they shook hands as Team McDonald of Coyotes, Seattle Granite, and Wine Country took at least a 10 to 1 lead or win over Team Altus from Silicon Valley. Sheets sheet four, they're still playing singles. So the jukebox melody continues on sheet four as Team Ewers out of Orange County scored a single in the sixth to tie things up, 3-all against Team Barajas from San Francisco. So very interesting games so far. You can check out all the scores at bondspieler.com. Returning to our feature sheets, Howells has two yellows in the house, providing a tasty and tempting target for Team Nooris to take on. And that was Stephanie Trudeau's second shot. Let's see, it's going to make contact with one of the rocks. I think they may have approached it from the wrong angle. And then also Norris missed sweeping the yellow in the back behind the tee line. He may have liked it there. So it does unlock the two yellows. And so it looks like Howells wants to put up a guard to protect the shot stone. It looks like Howells is sitting two at this point. As Eric Hazard gets set. So this is shaping up to be a guard, about covering about half of the stones in the center of the house. Definitely think that Norris can unlock those with Andrew's first rock of the end as he looks to break things up. So this is actually a little wide. It just kisses their own stone, and then the shooter glances towards the back of the house out of play. So just a missed chance there. Although Norris has a lot of options, as does Howells. But if you guys see any options in the chat, definitely let us know. That's part of the fun of the game is looking to see what possible shots you guys are seeing. Uh, we can't see everything, but if we work together, we might see a lot of the shots. I think they just want to park on top of the red. And that way there's not a run back of the yellow onto red. The guard is made. I thought they would have maybe wanted to get a little closer. Although I guess they could have chipped out the yellow, and that was this guard prevents that. So that's a decent shot. But now Norris is going to clear the guard that's in front of the pile of rocks in the house. Looking for Peel. They could get lucky and run the yellow onto red onto yellow as Ring comes from the hat. Oh, he gets low and fast. That does peel the guard, and the guard rolls through the house. So we see Liza Barris, her first, and Norris has a hammer, by the way, guys. And we're in the seventh end. I've been slacking. I apologize. Okay, all caught up. So they have called their time out, and let's see if we can listen in on the conversation as the players make their way down the ice. First, let's take a look at the overhead view. And it's a pretty tricky situation. It's possible for Norris to maybe get to the red, but I don't know how much what that gets them necessarily. They could draw around the pile, and let's hear what they're talking about. Okay, well, try and check in a second. But I will note that we're hearing more from Team Howells than from Team Norris. So looking at the overhead again, I think drawing around could be their best bet. I mean, they could hit the yellow that Norris is walking towards, but it wouldn't roll to a place that would help them a lot. They are down two here in the seventh end. There is one more end of regulation to this contest. So I think they're going to try and draw around the guard and tap the red onto yellow. Definitely a fairly high difficulty shot. Definitely need to make sure you have the right ice to pull it off. So this looks to be about hack weights if I were to judge it. Sweeping for line. It's going to be close. I got 11 seconds. Oh, wow. That worked out really well as the yellow shooter. So, Edie, can you hear me? Your pal Ryan? They upgraded the on-sheet microphones, and you can do a pretty good job of hearing them. This did a wreck. So they upgraded the microphones on the ice. It's just that I think they're in the overhead cameras. And so in that last time out, Team Norris was, by the hog line. They were about 12, they were about 18 feet away from the microphone, and Team Howells was much closer. So that I think was the situation. So I think this is an excellent opportunity for Norris here to punch out the yellow and sit three. So called him off. Definitely is curling, looking for a plan B. It looks like it's actually ending up a little on the light side. So this does create a bit of an opportunity for Howells, I think, to potentially double those reds out of the way. So also, I'll try to adjust the sound so we can pick up a little bit more. It's just they go from yelling to talking a lot. It sounds like one of the games ended. Let's go around the range and see what might be happening there. Okay, they didn't. The game didn't end. They just cleared the sheet on 4. That's the game that is going back and forth. Interesting to see what happened there. We'll get back to that. So, Garnet Howells with his first of 2 skip stones without a hammer, looking to move some granites. Looking to push it over just a little bit. I think it might nose hit. Ah, that worked out fairly well for them. So it does punch out just one of the reds, but then the shooter rolls under the center guards to be second shot. So Howells is sitting first and second, and Nooris is sitting third and fifth. So I think Norris is maybe looking to just tap the red back to the button. Just based on that, this is definitely a weight sensitive shot as Norris makes his way down the ice. Norris is down 2, looking to. I mean, they definitely need to score here. I think definitely looking to 2 to tie, and then maybe stealing the win in the 8th could be the strategy for Clyde Norris and his rink. Weight looks good. That's been something that's been tricky for some of the teams this first day of the event, but it looks like it's getting away from them. Just kind of based on uh, Norris's reaction. It's going to curl into the pile there. Wick off of the yellow guard and rolls in front of the red. And so now Howells is up 2 in the house, up 2 on the scoreboard, and looking to make it really hard for Norris to score. So one of the potential saving graces for Norris is that Howells' rocks that are counting are in the outer 8 foot, touching the 12 foot in one case. And so there is a potential for Norris to draw for a single. I don't see a double happening or a way for Norris to score 2 at this point, but if you guys see it in the chat, please let us know. If I see it happen in real time, I'll let you guys know. All right, this is Garnet Hells' last here in the 7th. Just looking for a draw. And we're going to time it as it travels between the blue hog lines. This is a little on the light side. I mean, they want to guard, so it's important to protect the line. Oh my goodness. And it's really hard to time between the hog lines when the rock doesn't reach the second hog line. It's a hog rock. It happens. I used to be really good about not hogging my rocks, but I've hogged a couple rocks in the past curling season. I just don't quite know what happened. Looking at the clock, teams have over 6 minutes to play an end and one rock in the case of Norris. So both teams are doing really well on time, although both teams have. Uh, so the rock hit the brakes, and they looked at the stone, and it looks like Garnett held up a piece of debris. It was a picked stone, and you can see kind of like a little path in front of Norris where he's got the broom. So it must have grabbed onto that debris and just dug in. Just one of the unfortunate things that happens in the game. So I'm curious about what Norris wants to do in this situation. I think he wants to perhaps draw through the ports. Okay, he's throwing with enough weight to do a double run back. Needs to curl it just a little. Actually, it looks pretty decent. Oh, goodness. So I think it over curled. And so then it hit the red at a kind of a inside angle and pushed it out, and it wasn't enough to push the red back. So calling for a technical timeout. They're not responsible for the time. Looks like they could be asking for a measure. It's definitely one yellow, and they're looking to see if there's a second yellow there, as the head ice official will make his way out onto the ice for potentially the most exciting measuring device in all of sports. As we see one of the ice officials make her way onto the ice. They had to go place it on the ice to cool it down so it doesn't melt the playing surface. They'll do that for about 10 seconds, 10 to 5 seconds. So the most exciting measure in all of sports, using a pressure gauge to determine which team is closer to the center based on how much pressure is put onto the device. Let's switch back to the overhead view. It looks yellow from here, but it's always good to be sure. And also the cameras don't lie, but they don't necessarily tell the whole truth. So that looks, they want to make sure that it's pretty dialed in. I don't know if the people in the chat had a thought about which stone was shot or was the second shot. So the measure started. Ooh, and it's yellow. So yellow takes two, Howells does, and we are potentially headed into the eighth end of regulation with Howells holding a 10-6 lead. As we continue with our live coverage of the 2024 MoPac Mixed Playdowns coming to you by presented by doubletakeout.com. A second. The score went to 10, and I guess we're not ready for it. Nope. That sort of works. Rocks in play. We're underway here in the eighth end. Team Howells holding on to a 10-6 lead. Nooris has a hammer again. As we check out the first stone from Seema, she threw it through the house. And so now Stephanie Trudeau has her first rock, I think looking to put up a corner guard. And this looks to be a little light. So definitely want to make sure it gets over the line and it's not going to get there. So that is a hogged stone. I don't think there was any debris on the ice that time. Before we see the next stone come down the ice, let's take a quick trip around the rings to the other game in action. Oh, we had the first double of the game from this is sheet four. We have Team Mewers, the Red Stones, and Team Barajas out of San Francisco with the Yellow Rocks. And Seema threw her second stone through. And so, wow, they broke the singles as Barajas holds a 5-3 lead in the final end. And it looks like Barajas is sitting two. So Mewers has some work to do to try to tie the game or perhaps win. We'll perhaps drop in on that game in a moment as we return to our feature sheet game, where Trudeau was able to put up a corner guard with her second stone. And so now I do believe that Eric is just going to throw through. And that does appear to be the case. So it's a matter of Howells not giving Nooris anything to play to while Howells tries to reduce the number of potential stones in play. Basically, if Howells takes out 5 red stones or 5 stones go away, it's the end of the game. So it's very much an end game happening right now. Just to remind you guys again that I hope you enjoyed today's coverage, and if you liked it, we've got more. Tune in all day tomorrow, where we have a quadruple header of games on tap, starting at about 9:30 Pacific, where we will see Team Fellman of Wine Country take on Team Leclerc of Coyotes. This should be a really solid game. At about 1, we'll have Team Murray take on Team Max. So that is a Coyotes cat fight. Uh, at 5, we have Team Dro take on Team Norris in the last game of pool play. And then at about 8:30, we'll have our first quarterfinal, first playoff game in the form of a quarterfinal. And that's all tomorrow, coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club and also from our MoPac YouTube channel. So now the guard zone rule is off, and now Howells and Eric Hazard are going to clear the guards. And they don't want to stick around necessarily, but they will in this case with a nose hit. And also just a reminder, if you're in the Bay Area and love curling and need to get a flu or COVID shot, San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club is running a clinic on both Saturday and Sunday. Just to confirm the hours, I believe it is going to be 11 to 5 both days, Saturday and Sunday. And so if you need a flu or COVID vaccine, come on down. It is being brought to you by, looks like there is a small trip, not too bad. The vaccine clinic is being brought to you by San Francisco Curling Club, USA Curling MoPac, and the Coaching You Up KO Knockout Flu and COVID. Again, those hours are 11 to 5, Saturday and Sunday at the club. And so it looks like Howells is going to try and take out another of the red stones. Job accomplished, and the shooter will also roll through the house out of, well, rolls to the side of the sheet out of play. It doesn't actually reach the house. And so now Norris is looking for places to put stones that can't be hits. They need to have 4 shots, 4 stones count to force an extra end. It's a tall order. It's not impossible, but against a field of this caliber, it's pretty tricky. So this looks like it could be on the yellow rock and actually pushes the yellow into the house. One more note about the vaccination clinic: if it's there's no cost, but if you have Medicare or insurance, it's asked to bring your information down so that they can check for insurance. So again, Howell's just about to work with Liza Barris is first here. Going to get the red onto yellow, gets one of the Howell's yellows out of play, which is not bad. Again, they just want to try to get rid of the red rocks in play. And so now Norris is going to draw in as we're going to see the last of the Vice stones come down the way. This is Misty Daniels with her last. So want to make sure it gets around the guards. And they also need to make sure it's in the house. And so that's a good draw there from Misty Daniels. Norris is sitting 3. They need 4 to tie. However, if Howells keeps making rocks go away, it could be the end of the game in just 2 more stones. And this is pool play, so it's going to be really every shot counts, every game counts. Uh, the score doesn't necessarily matter, but you definitely want to be able to be in the win column to be one of the 2 teams in each pool that advances to the 6-team semi quarterfinal tomorrow night. So this is Garnet Howells is first without the hammer, looking to just make rocks go away. So it looks a little light. I thought they were going to do a takeout, but this is going to be more of a draw. Ends up in the back button, solidly in the forefoot. So question about how much time they have, and it's 4 minutes to throw 2 stones. So they're in a pretty good position as they talk over the shot. I think if they hit and roll towards the center, they'd be sitting 4, and then Howells would try to probably either draw to outcount those other stones or hit. I don't think he would hit though. I think he would draw again. So people in the chat, I don't know if you have any thoughts about what the situation would be. I think they are going to set up for the hit and roll, but you can't miss. If you miss, it's pretty much game over. So asking for backline weight. Oh, this is tricky. I thought hit and roll would be a call. and I think it still is, but you need to make sure that you don't nose the yellow because it would jam on the red in the back, and that would also be game over. So backline waits, looking to hit the yellow across the face, and need to make sure it doesn't wreck on anything. This is really close. Oh, beauty. Oh, it sits down. That yellow sits down in the back 8 foot, touching the 12-foot ring there. Ah, goodness, that looked really good. Just a little. Well, they said back line weight. They probably wanted to probably needed hack that really did that yellow gone. And so now Howells is probably going to draw down and park on top of that red that was just thrown, and asking for more ice, indicating that he's going to throw lighter weights. And this is he can't really miss the shot because if he misses the shot and gives Nooris a chance to pluck out that yellow that's in the house, that could be the game. So this is another critical shot coming from Garnett Howells here. His last without the hammer in the eighth. And I do have to say that was a pretty well played end by Norris to put all those rocks in play. So it seems like the rock might be a little hot as Hazard finishes it to make sure it curls over enough. And it does settle in for third shot, or actually second shot. So Norris has a pretty difficult situation. If I were to throw a circus shot, I would throw heat at the top yellow onto the red and have the red go back onto the yellow, the back yellow, and then hopefully have the first Yellowstone spin away. And that's what they're looking at. But you got to do it. You got to be sitting 4 or 5 to keep playing. It looks like the Ewers Barajas game ended as I see players leaving the ice. So just to quickly update that score, I'll do it off screen. Um, they didn't post the final score, so I'm not quite sure how it ended. But Bonspieler might have the answer. So apologies for that. So they're looking. This is a tricky shot to line up. I think they're looking to line up. I don't think this is. I don't think that's the shot. Because if it runs the yellow onto red, and then maybe hopefully hit the red onto yellow, you're only scoring 2 or 3 in this case, which you know is not enough. So on sheet D, it was Barajas with the win. They looks like Barajas scored a single in the eighth to take a 6-3 win. So that wraps up the other games on the ice. And this is a high level of difficulty shot. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. This is Clyde Norris with his last. Lots of weight. It's going to get one, clips one of the yellows away, and it's going to be good for 2, which was a good effort, but not enough as Team Howells Down early, comes back to take command late for an 10 to 8 win over Team Norris. So in this SoCal clash, it was Team Howells of Hollywood taking the win over Team Norris. Good game all around. I'm very glad that you guys were able to tune into this game. Before we say goodnight, just another friendly reminder that our event is being brought to you by our partners at doubletakeout.com. DoubleTakeout.com is the site to check out the world's greatest curling rankings compiled throughout the season by proprietor Ken Pomeroy. He also runs a Substack newsletter where he delves deeper into how he uh, works on the methodology of crunching the numbers and coming up with the top rankings for both the men's, women's, and I believe mixed double teams. That's all on doubletakeout.com. So as we wrap things up tonight, we saw a lot of exciting games today, including this nightcap between Team Norris of San Diego and Team Howells of Hollywood. It was Team Howells that came away with a W as we continue pool play. Again, we have a quadruple header of games tomorrow, starting at around 9:30. The first game will be Feldman taking on Team Leclerc, and then we have other dates, other times at 1, 5, and about 8:20, and that's all coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club on our MoPac YouTube channel. And just another reminder that from 11 to 5 tomorrow and Sunday, you can come down to the club and get a flu or COVID vaccine at no cost. So lots happening. You can watch people take their shots while you get a shot at the San Francisco Club. That's coming up tomorrow, all here from Oakland. And so for now, for all of us here at MoPac, the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club, and DoubleTakeout.com. This is your host, Ryan Olson, saying good night